right. So, welcome to the third and final episode of Talking Self-Care with me, Life Coach Lindsey. I have Sarah Pomaro here from Breathe, Grow, Change. I am super excited to bring her here with us today. She's going to tell us a little bit about her business and what self-care means to her.
Hi, thanks for having me, Lindsey. It's so good to be here.
Yeah. Good. Okay, so tell us a little bit about your business and how it relates to self-care.
All right. Well, my business has grown and changed in interesting, unexpected ways in the last 20 years, and especially in the last 18 months or so. But I started out as a yoga teacher, teaching group yoga classes, and I've been doing that for about 16 years. Started doing some life coaching for clients on the side, separate from yoga. And that shifted when I brought the two together. And so I call what I do self-care coaching or wellness coaching.
Yeah.
And I layer movement and self-care together. So I'm a self-care coach, and I still teach group classes. They're all virtual now.
Yeah.
And I also have online videos. So all sorts of different things.
Yeah, I love that. So what does self-care mean to you and why?
Self-care is everything. I mean, it's like what my world revolves around. And so self-care is how I nourish myself so I can have a better relationship with myself so that I can have better relationships with everyone else in my life. From my immediate family and my children and my husband to some of those more challenging relationships like my mother or my dad or my stepmom and even down to the people like the grocery store clerk, right? Or the, things like that. So self-care to me is how I keep myself fully nourished to be able to step into, step into me and my relationships.
I like that. Ooh, I'm kicking things over here. So what role would you say, would you believe that self-care actually plays in your life?
It's a key role. It is something that has been transformational for me. And I firmly believe that we have different seasons of our self-care.
Oh, I like that.
So, I think back to when I was in high school, and self-care for me was walking with my girlfriend. And taking long walks, or I was a swimmer, so going to swim practice was self-care. And flash forward to when I had newborns, self-care was getting a shower.
Brushing your
teeth. Right, self-care was taking a nap. And so for me, that that is just, I keep coming back. It's how I nourish myself. And I firmly believe that it grows. And so we learn skills, and then we learn more, and then we learn more. And we can pick those skills up along the way whenever we need them, depending on what season of life we're in.
Right. Yeah. It's like no matter where you're at, self-care is there for you. And I feel sometimes, like you mentioned with those different seasons of life that you're in, you can still have the same type of self-care, but you'll pull something completely different from it. So you can hear the same message at different points in your life, and it will mean something completely different to you. And I love that. I love the way you explain that.
Thanks. Well, I mean, like I even think about it. I mean, you think about somebody who's like a pack-a-day smoker.
Right.
And they can still have self-care in their life.
Yeah, true.
But it's going to look different than someone who is, a yoga teacher.
True.
But it doesn't mean that it, so you just have different pieces of it.
Right.
So.
I like that. So what do
Thanks.
you think is your biggest struggle when it comes to practicing self-care?
My we were just talking about this offline. I am in the middle of a move, packing up my house, and we're not moving far away. We're staying in the same town that we're at, but we're moving, and huge life stress, right? Like, ah.
Right.
And my biggest challenge when those big stressors come up is doing the things that will make me feel better versus the old habit and the old story in my head of doing the things that I deserve.
Right.
So I had a long, crappy day and I worked my butt off.
Mm-hmm.
I deserve to have a glass of wine.
Right.
And it's, you know, that may not be the thing that is actually going to serve me the most. And
Right.
I'm not above having a glass of wine. I mean, let's be clear, but I want to make sure I'm doing it not as a habitual response or not something that I earned.
Right. More
I have
like
a
guilty pleasure than a coping device.
Yeah, exactly. Because I have better coping skills than that. So that's, you know, that's one of the things I get sticky with. And the way that I try to navigate that and sometimes I navigate it better than others, but but I try really hard to pause and just take a couple breaths and get conscious instead of doing the knee-jerk reaction that perhaps I would have had 10 years ago or 20 years ago or a year ago, maybe last week. But so I try to just pause and like, okay, it's not about deserving. Is this what is really going to feed and support you right at this moment? Or is there something else that you need to do? Do you need to go take a walk outside and clear your head?
Right.
Do you need to have a conversation with that person that really kind of pissed you off instead of diving into, bag of potato chips? And for me, it always comes up like this, shows up a lot around food and adult beverages. But I do a better job today about pausing and getting conscious and making a conscious decision. And sometimes that decision is, I do want to have such and such, but I make it from a place that's different than deserve it to,
that makes sense.
I would consciously like to choose this.
Yes, I like that. It's more or less like I had a bad day. Now I'm going to go home and have a glass of wine versus I had a bad day. Okay, let me think about my feelings. How am I actually feeling? Am I trying to drown it with the wine, or are we going to actually face it like an adult?
Right. For me, sometimes for me, it's like that late night, like, oh, I deserve to have another glass of wine. Really? I just need to go to bed. I'm a total early bird. And so when I find myself up and, when I find myself up at like, and this is going to sound funny to some of you, but 9 o'clock or like really pushing it like 10 o'clock, if I'm up past 10, I'm going to look at me and be like, are things okay? Like what's going on? And so I have to like, okay, get clear. Like, is this what you want to be doing right now? Or do you just need to go to bed? Isn't that funny?
Yeah. So what would you say makes you successful at, not letting that negative part and that, wanting to deserve it take over and, moving forward with that?
So, lots of things have helped me build up my practices. And I call them practices because it's not perfection. And I practice it each day. It started with my yoga practice and with that physical movement piece. So physical movement is, and not purely just yoga, but walking and lifting weights and yoga, all are part of my movement practice. And those just keep my body feeling good. And years of therapy. I kid you not. But the biggest thing at this point in my life, as I've kind of shifted through the layers, along with that movement, is gratitude practices.
Yes.
And my practices that I bring into my daily life, movement is one of them. Meditation is another one, and gratitude. Yeah. And those keep me being the best person I am today.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm with you. So out of those, what would you say is your favorite to do?
Now my favorite, or I would have to say the one that feeds me the most is gratitude.
Gratitude.
Yeah. And again, that's the season that I'm at right now.
Yeah.
If you had asked me a year ago, it probably would have been lifting weights.
Okay.
Which is not where my comfort level is.
Yeah.
But it was what was allowing me to stay out of pain.
Okay.
From having too loose of joints. So yoga is really great. And then you try doing it, like 5 times a day, 5 days in a row, and then you add your own practice. And so it's just, there can be too much.
Yeah, right. There's too much of a good thing, right? You become satiated with it. You become sick of it. It's like if you were to eat your favorite meal for the same meal all day, every day, eventually you wouldn't want to eat it anymore.
Right. Well, but today it's gratitude. Today it brings me so much joy.
Yeah.
When I can walk through my day and something will come up and I'll be like, thank you. And, for whoever crossed my path, or for getting all green lights when I'm late, or
right? Isn't that nice?
Or for taking the car to the mechanic and it's lower than I expected, the bill is less. So stuff like that. I mean, I just really try to bring gratitude in on a regular basis. Yeah.
So if you could only have one physical self-care item, what would it be?
Okay, can I just tell you that I had a huge argument when I saw this with you about this question, because Lindsey gave me the questions in advance so I could be prepared. So I have two.
Hey, that's okay. Because here's the thing, like after I was talking with everybody, I was like, that wasn't actually how I intended the questions to be answered, but now I see how you answered it that way. So now it's like, and now I'm like, how are you going to answer this?
Well, so what cracks me up is there are two tools, physical tools that I use, and I brought them. So the first one are my yoga tune-up therapy balls. And I do self-massage with therapy balls.
Are they like soft or are they hard?
They're, at this point, these are kind of an older one. They do have some squish to them, but they're rubber balls.
Okay.
So they're not hard. They do have some squish to them, but they have been physically life-changing to my care. I've had chronic neck pain since I was in college, and I see my chiropractor now more socially than I do to get adjustments because of these little suckers.
Those bad boys.
Yeah. And I teach people how to use them because it's been so huge for me and I get so excited about it. But so that's the first like physical one. Yeah. But then the one mental, and you're gonna love this, are my Sharpies.
That's so great.
And the reason I say my Sharpies is because whenever I'm stuck, whenever I'm trying to create, whenever I feel blah, whenever I'm trying to figure out where my life is supposed to be headed or what is going on, I get out my Sharpies and I get out my big drawing pad and
Ooh,
I do creative exercises
I
and
love
not
that.
drawing. I am not an artist in any way whatsoever. I do mind mapping and I
Hmm.
do, brain dumps and I do
Yeah.
all these different things. And when I'm creating my courses that I do
Hmm.
or my workshops that I do, I sit down and I get out all my colors and I create from there. And I love that creative piece that I can
Yeah.
bring that in. So the Sharpies they're huge. And
Yeah.
I
There's so
can
many
do it with
colors.
a pen, right? I can more fun with like purple and
Yeah.
green. And so,
Right.
yeah,
Kind of like brings out your personality, I feel.
totally.
Yeah. All right. So if you can only be remembered for one tip when it comes to self-care, what would it be?
So this is one that I was thinking about and I was like, oh my gosh, oh, what am I gonna, And the one thing that I would say about anyone in any season of your self-care
Mhm.
lives that, it's like we have 9 lives, like cats, is a little bit each day goes a long way. So
Yes.
whatever is your main focus,
Hmm.
a little bit and bringing it in and weaving it in on a very daily basis will have bigger impact than trying to do it all,
Yeah.
like two
That's so
hours of
important.
a workout. It's better to do 15 minutes, five
Right.
days a week than jam it all into one
Yeah.
time. So I like to think of those things as practices that we
Mhm.
bring in and we have this commitment to the practice
Yes.
of these things that take care of us. So practicing bringing in self-care. It's the practice of self-care.
Yes. I love that. Oh, thank you so
Thanks.
much. That's so important. So I thank you so much, Sarah, for joining us today. I really appreciate it. So,
Yeah, happy to be here. Thanks for having
yes,
me, Lindsey.
you're welcome. So I wish you so much love and light, and I will see you next time.
Sounds good. Thanks, Lindsey.